going on, everybody, and welcome back to the latest episode of Combat Tips Season 3. As you all can see here, today's video will be featuring Cetrion, the daughter of Kronika. As per usual, folks, should there be any buttons I say in today's tutorial that don't entirely make sense to you, feel free to use this guide here, and that should allow you to convert anything I say into a platform that currently features Mortal Kombat 11. Here we are as per usual on the character customization screen, and that is to show you that as of this video's release date, there are 17 out of 17 finishers for Cetrion, and that means today's video will feature 7 different brutalities. As always, folks, if there's any particular brutality you have come to this video to learn, feel free to hop on down to either the description or the comments below where you can find timestamps to help you get to any of the tutorials I feature in today's video. That all said, we're going to be starting off with the Classic as per usual, and I'll see you guys there. Alright folks, so we're starting out with our traditional move here, the Classic. Now, the Classic, pretty easy, pretty straightforward. All you have to worry about is not blocking on the final round, and do keep in mind the final round is either round 2 or 3, whatever round you as a player will be victorious on. Next up, you just want to make sure you finish your opponent with an uppercut, and while you're doing that uppercut, you want to hold either Y or triangle, whatever controller is respective to you. So here we go, folks, hopping right into it. We're going to do an uppercut first, and that is either down Y or down triangle, and it should look just like that. Now, as you can see, we are on round 2 here, and just to clarify, when it says do not block an attack, it is okay should you accidentally hit the block button. So don't worry about that. Should you block by accident, as long as you don't take any damage while blocking, it will not count, and it will not ruin the brutality for you. Alrighty, folks, we're moving in for that kill here. Just one more reminder, make sure you don't block on the final round, and the final round itself can either be round 2 or 3, just whatever one you're going to be victorious on. As you can see in my case, it will be 2. And again, blocking just means that you can hold this button by accident, but don't take any damage while doing that. So if you can do it, avoid it altogether. Now that said, you want to make sure, if you follow that criteria, afterwards to follow it up by finishing your opponent with an uppercut, and that is down Y or down triangle, and make sure to hold either Y or triangle during that uppercut. And if all that falls together, you should get that result right there. Very easy, folks. Again, I've said it in the previous videos, I just like to cover this for every character, regardless of the fact that it's pretty much the same for everybody. But again, this way you can just click one character's video and get all of the brutalities in one place. On to the next one, folks. Alright, everybody, so next up we have Falling Sky. Now, this brutality will require that you have Earthquake in your arsenal, so do make sure you got this all good and set up if you want to perform this brutality. Regarding our criteria, you're going to have to perform a Mercy, and if you don't know what that is, I'll easily demonstrate that in just a couple of moments. Other than that, though, after you have performed that Mercy, you want to make sure that your final hit comes from the second hit of Earthquake. Now, this may sound a little confusing, and we'll just hop into it right now. I'll give you guys an exact demonstration of what this should look like. Alrighty, folks, so let's start off with the Earthquake, and that is going to be down, down A or down, down X, and it should look just like that. Now, something to note when we do the Earthquake on the top left here is that 74 damage. Now, we need to keep that in mind, and if you go up here and see on my health bars, we have actual percentages. Now, if you haven't already, I highly recommend going in your options screen and turning on the percentages for the health so you know exactly how much health your opponent has at any point in time. This is helpful because now we can go into a situation and kind of gauge our hits. You know exactly how much health is being lost when you're attacking your opponent. So we're going to try and get them down to about a little bit right there, 64 health. Now, see, why this is a good place to gauge it is because essentially now we can go in for this Earthquake, and that is going to be, again, down, down A, boom, boom. And as you can see, that second hit there put our opponent on the ground. Alrighty, folks, so our Mercy. If you don't already know what a Mercy is, it is essentially the ability to give your opponent back health once you are on the finish him screen. Why would you do this? A, because you know you can humiliate them and take it back anyways, or B, because a brutality like this will require it. So, how exactly do we do that? Now, first off, you need to get your opponent into the finish him screen. Pretty straightforward. After that, you're going to need to get about medium distance. Now, if you don't know what medium distance is, I'd say this is about it, but if you need a way to gauge it, get right up against your opponent and do 2 back dashes. Back, 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 back. Easy enough, folks. Now that we're standing at about medium distance, you're either going to want to hold left trigger or L2, which is this button back here, and of course, you know you are pushing the right button if when you push it, your character flips their stance, like so. So we're at medium distance, we're holding our stance button, and now we want to push down, down, down 3 times very quick. Down, 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 down. And once you do that and let go of that flip stance button, like so, it'll activate the Mercy. So here you go, folks, real-time example of a Mercy. Tripping up the opponent into the finish him screen. Again, if you want to go ahead, you can do 1, 2, flip stance, 1, 2, 3, and there you go, folks. Alright everybody, so the final strike itself. One more reminder, you want to make sure that before you go in for this, you perform the Mercy we just went over. And after that, again, all you have to do is kill your opponent with the second hit of the Earthquake. So again, we went over the percentages earlier. Let's go ahead and see if we can get our opponent just low enough. And as you can see, the Earthquake does 74 damage. Our opponent has 60, which means if we move in for our Earthquake now, which is down, down A or down, down X, our result should be a little something like this. Awesome. I'm gonna tell you now, guys, Cetrion has a lot of very good brutalities in my opinion. I don't know, I just love her nature theme, this whole nature-based idea behind her. And if you haven't already, you should really check out her customizations because even just visually, she has a lot of really cool visuals to add to her just costume and overall design. So, on to our next brutality, folks. Alright folks, so next up we have the pinned brutality. Now in order to do this one, you're going to want to finish your opponent with a back throw, and while that back throw is happening, you need to rapidly push either X and Y or square and triangle during said throw. So here we go, let's give you guys an example. Now right out of the gate, if you want to do a back throw, all you have to do is simply push L1 or left button. If you do that and don't push in any direction, you will always get a back throw. All the same, if you're more of an arcade style player, you can push square and X or X and A, and that will also give you a back throw. If you're not really confident that your throw is going to go backwards, you are allowed to hold in the back direction. Just make sure to do it as you activate said throw. And again, you will always get a back throw. Now, the next thing to note is that they want us to mash 2 buttons, which are, again, going to be square and triangle on the PlayStation or X and Y on the Xbox. And it just as a personal tip or suggestion from me, the way I like to do it is as soon as that throw animation begins, like so, I will take these 2 fingers, my pointer and my middle, place them on the buttons respective to what I have to mash, and then just beat them, like so. Spam them rapidly until it activates. Just do what you gotta do. So here we go, folks. We're moving in for that killing blow. Again, all we have to do is make sure to finish our opponent with a back throw and then mash the 2 respective buttons, either X and Y or square and triangle on your controller. So here we go, folks. Gonna take my fingers, put them right on my 2 buttons that I have to mash here, and then it's as simple as this. I don't even need to be holding the controller proper. I can just hit that throw button, boom, start mashing, and there we go, folks. Ooh. This is definitely a brutality. It's so damn brutal. I love it. Like I said, you guys, Cetrion's got some really awesome brutalities. On to the next one. Alright everybody, so next up is the splitting apart brutality. Now, in order to do this one, you must land at least 3 throws during the match. They can be forwards or back throws, it doesn't matter. But when it comes to the final hit itself, you want to make sure that comes from a towards throw. So let's go and show you guys what this should all look like. So in the last brutality, we went over back throws, and for this brutality, we need to go over forward throws because that is how we complete this one. So simply enough, all you really have to do is push your respective throw button while walking towards the opponent. Push forward and then L1 or left bumper, and there you go. Easy enough, folks. Now, just to remind you of these requirements, again, we have to get 3 throws. They can be any type, so there we go. Here's 1 back throw. We'll go in and get ourselves 1 towards throw. And then last but not least, 1 more back throw. And there we have it, folks. Those are the 3 throws we need for the criteria of this brutality. Alright everybody, moving in for the final hit here. One more reminder, all you have to do is perform 3 throws between rounds 1, 2, and 3, so long as you do them. Back throws, forward throws, doesn't matter. And then, when you're going for that final strike, just make sure to kill your opponent with a towards or forwards throw. Let's go for it, guys. Oh!
Brutality. All life
It's so good. Oh man, just all this elemental additions. It's so awesome. I really hope they add more in the future that have more to do with water and such, because she's definitely got a very good variety of just, you know, elemental differences going on when it comes to customization of her moves. Alright folks, so next up is the Crushed Brutality. Now this one will require that you have the Shattering Boulder ability in your arsenal, so do make sure to get hooked up with that so you can go ahead and perform this brutality without any issues. Regarding our criteria, pretty straightforward. All you have to do is activate the Shattering Boulder move 3 times during the match, and as far as I know, it just says you have to use it. You don't actually have to hit. So long as you use 3 of them, you should be all set. And then after that, all you want to do is finish your opponent with an amplified Shattering Boulder. Let's go ahead and show you guys how this all should look. Now the Shattering Boulder is going to be down back square or down back X, and it should look just like that. Now, like many new moves in Mortal Kombat 11, this ability can actually be adjusted in regards to direction. So if we just use the ability by itself, easy enough. But if we use the ability and push backwards in our direction while that's activating, as you can see, the boulder will be closer, and vice versa. If we activate the ability and quickly push forwards while the boulder's coming up, we can actually hit the opponent. So just do keep that in mind. This does have a little bit of flexibility when attacking the opponent. Now, it's also important to note that we actually have to use the amplified Shattering Boulder. Now, that's going to be down back X or down back square as per usual, but we also want to push either R1 or right bumper during that activation, and we should get that right there. You'll see a secondary boulder explodes from the first and will also detonate, attacking the opponent further. So one more time, here we go. And that is what your ability should look like. Just for clarification and a reminder, it does say to use 3 Shattering Boulders throughout the match, which again, just says use, not to connect, so here we go. Here's 1, here's 2, and there's 3. Alright everybody, we're moving in for that final strike. One more reminder, make sure you use at least 3 Shattering Boulders at some points between rounds 1, 2, and 3. You just have to use them, they don't necessarily have to connect. And then, when it comes to actually finishing the opponent, use an amplified Shattering Boulder, which will be down back X or down back square, with the addition of R1 or right button to amplify that ability. Let's go for it, folks.
Finish her.
Here we go. Oh. Do keep in mind, as you can see there, with some brutalities, you may skip to the finish him screen, but so long as you kill the opponent before they hit the ground and, you know, your combo ends, you should be alright. You should always get that brutality still. But in regards to this one, just as gory and brutal as the rest of hers, again, she's got a good arsenal. What can I say? Alright everybody, so next up is the Smoked Flesh Brutality, and this one does have a couple particular requirements, and the first one of those is to make sure that you as a player have less than 40% health when you go for this brutality. Now next up, you want to make sure that you perform this brutality about some distance away from the opponent. Now, what exactly is some distance? It's a little confusing, but if you ask me, from my experimentation, some distance is at least medium distance or further. If you get too close, it won't work. Now, the final hit itself has to come from an amplified Hell's Wrath, but let me go ahead and skip right into the example now and show you guys what this should all look like when put together properly. So starting off with Hell's Wrath, that is going to be down forward X or down forward square, and it should look just like that. Now, much like with our last brutality, this ability can actually be modified depending on the direction you use it in. So if you just use it by itself, you'll go about medium distance, but if you push backwards in your direction while you use this move, like so, it'll be a little closer, and if you push forwards while using this move, you can see it goes just far enough to hit our opponent in certain situations. So again, just keep that in mind. This move is flexible and it can work to your advantage in different situations. Now, it's important to clarify that we do have to use the amplified Hell's Wrath in order to get this brutality to work, and again, that is going to be down forward X or down forward square with R1 or the right button pushed as well, so that you can amplify this move, and it should look just like that, folks. You'll get 2 separate fiery beams. Regarding the sum distance for this brutality, again, I suggest going about medium distance if you want, and if you don't know how to gauge that, 1, 2, that's always going to be about medium distance. Just a reminder, folks, we do need 40% or less of our health to make this work. So, as you can see up here, I have exactly 39% of my health left. So, as long as you have equal or less to what you see right here on the screen, you'll have no problem performing this brutality. Alrighty, folks, moving in for that final strike here. As you can see, we have less than 40% of my health as the brutality requires. We are at least some distance away, as the brutality also requires. In my opinion, get about medium distance and you should be alright. And then last but not least, we have to finish this opponent with an amplified Hell's Wrath, which is down forward X or down forward square, with the addition of the R1 or right button to amplify it. So let's put all that together, you guys, and it should look just like that.
All life ends. Cetrion.
Yeah, we took off the flesh from both the gut and the skull. You gotta love it, you guys. These are some very hardcore brutalities. I mean, if a lot of people that I've heard have mixed feelings on Cetrion, but you gotta give credit where it's due, and that's definitely in her brutality station. On to our final brutality for today, folks. Alright, everybody, so our last brutality for today is called Cannonball, and if I'm quite honest, it's about as straightforward as it gets. The final hit itself must come from a boulder bash, so let me show you guys what this should look like and see if I can offer any tips on the situation. Alright everyone, so the boulder bash, very simple. Back forward Y or back forward triangle, and you should get that right there. Of course, however, this is clearly an anti-air move, so when we use this, we need our opponent to go up in the air like so. Now obviously, if you can use the boulder bash move like so, then you can defeat your opponent with this brutality. However, sometimes your opponent might not be jumping around, so how exactly do you get them up in the air? Well, my tip to you is to also use the bouncing boulder ability, and that is going to be down back Y or down back triangle, and it should look just like that. Now why do I recommend this? You'll notice here that as we use the bouncing boulder like so, and then the boulder bash, they both have a similar startup animation. So you can potentially psych your opponent out and maybe go in for a couple lower throws, and then when they start to ignore it, maybe they'll start to try and dodge them. They know you're coming with it, so they'll start to jump over, and when they start jumping like that, you go with another above throw like so. Okay guys, so that's a tip I have for you. Try to use the bouncing boulder with the boulder bash if you want to trick your opponent into this brutality. Let's move on to the final hit though. Alright folks, so as I said, all you really have to do for this brutality is hit your opponent with the boulder bash, which just means they have to be jumping up in the air. So let's go for it. Back forward Y or back forward triangle, and all of that together should look just like that. I mean, this is probably one of the most cinematic brutalities I've seen against, because it's just like, it changes the camera angle and everything. It's not traditional like the others, where normally the camera will stay at one fixed position and show off the brutality. I don't know, you guys. All I can say is brutalities from Cetrion's neck of the woods are all extremely well done. I was very satisfied with them all, and again, I hope they add more in the future. But that's all for today's video. Let's move on to our closing words. Alright everybody, as always, thank you so much for watching the video. I really do appreciate it. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and if you did, feel free to reflect that down below with either a like or a comment. If you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can find out when more videos like this go live in the future. Alright everybody, so that's it for today. Once again, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully, I'll see you next time, and as always, stay safe and stay happy. Adios.